This one comes from Sue Many Recipes. I'm assuming maybe their name's Sue.
Must be.
Maybe. How much, if any, cardio should be done during a maintenance and/or building phase?
I think for building phase, like very, very minimal.
Is that saying that it's bulky?
Yeah. Just if you're trying to gain weight, gain size, you don't want to do too much, because if you do too much, you're just burning too many calories. And if you're burning too many calories, you're going to be in a deficit. And you can't. I mean, you can build muscle in a deficit because recomp is possible, but it's just very rare, and it's highly dependent on the situation, right? Like, you have to be a newbie, you have to be already skinny fat, or you have to completely dramatically change. Maybe you're doing CrossFit and then for years, and then you shift 100% to dedicated bodybuilding. You probably could see a recomp. Or if you're really fucking dialed in, like I've seen advanced people recomp because we're like, all right, nutrient timing, meal timing, exact macros, you're weighing everything, fiber's on point, sleep is on point, training's on point, you're progressing over like every minor detail is so locked in that it's like, it's impossible to not recomp,
For sure.
But I think in general, if you're trying to build, you should do the minimal amount of cardio needed just to maintain healthy energy systems, because that's going to help you utilize carbs and fats for fuel. It's going to help you recover faster during your workouts. So between reps, between sets, between sessions, your body's able to pull in more oxygen and utilize more oxygen more effectively and efficiently, which is going to lead to better recovery for training. But you don't need that much in order to get that effect. So like for me during my building phase, when we were doing 6 days a week, my cardio was just my steps. I just like, I'm just going to go on a couple walks a day and just like pick up the pace just to make sure I'm doing something. When we shifted to 5 days, I added a conditioning day. So it was like more lower intensity, but it was like the rower or the assault bike or the sled, but I'm doing something for a 20 to 30 minute period sustained because I wanted to work on those energy systems. And now that I'm in a cut, we're doing 4 days lifting, 2 days of conditioning. So obviously as you shift gears towards a cut, you're going to do more. But I think even in a building phase or a maintenance phase, you should probably be doing at least 1 day, if not 2. I always tell people, like, I think everybody should be moving 6 days a week. Some people 7. I mean, because your 7th day could be like, I'm going to take my dog on a 30-minute walk.
Yeah.
It's not going to harm your recovery. If anything, it's going to make it better because it's peaceful, it's stress relieving. But if you're not getting any cardio in, we're missing out on a lot of good benefits for health, cardiovascular health, immune function, like I said, recovery, oxygen consumption, everything. So utilization of nutrients in the body, I would basically, all my clients do some, no matter where they're at. But usually when somebody's building, I like 5 days lifting, 1 day of conditioning or cardio. If they're cutting, it's usually 4 days of lifting, which 5 days of lifting you can still do when you're cutting. It'll maintain muscle good. But a lot of times as we go into a deficit, stress goes up, right? Because you're dropping calories, so cortisol is going to go up. Stress is a little bit higher. You're not going to have as much energy coming in. It's just hard to train that often with intensity.
That hard.
Yeah, so like even, I mean, yesterday, dude, like yesterday's session, literally, CJ texted me, he's like, I can't feel my legs, dude. We were literally just sitting there afterwards like, holy shit. And we're both on a cut right now. And you can feel it. But if I was doing 5 days a week, I wouldn't have been able to push that fucking hard.
Yeah.
But because we're only doing 4 days, like I can push really hard when I'm in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. A lot of people just don't train hard enough. That's another added benefit of or added reason why people can't recomp. You're just not training hard enough. Like you're doing an RPE 8 or an RIR of 2, but I watched that and your first rep looks the same as your 9th and 10th rep, which tells me that you're not 2 reps shy from failure.
Load the weight.
You're exactly add weight or add reps, because your last rep should be way fucking harder than your first, and it should be really close to failure. Like you want to get to that last point and be like, there's not that much I can do. And even last night, we worked up to 425 pounds on the trap bar for sets of 3. And I walked into it like, I'm going to do 365 today. Like that's where my RPE 8 is, right? If I read the paper and I look at the percentage and I think of RPE and my history, I'm like, that's my weight. And I went off of intuition and feeling, and we actually didn't count the weight on the plates. We were like, let's just keep going and follow our intensity and our effort and where we feel like how good we feel. And I got up to 425 for 3, and CJ went to 495 for 1. He only got 1 on that, but
still,
it was funny too, because like he started lifting me in January, and he was like, one of my goals, I want to deadlift 500 pounds, and he was way away from doing that because deadlift was one of his weaker lifts, and I was like, all right, we could probably get there, eventually. And we just started adding plates. And afterwards, we counted it. I was like, oh, dude, you should have put 2.5s on there. Because you got that good. But it was after you lift 495 once, you're like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
Not for weeks. But I was like, don't worry, man. You could probably do 500. But you didn't.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that answers the question, right?
Yep.